Welcome all signs. This is going to be a reading for the collective. Apologies for my voice. I'm overcoming a bit of a cold at the moment. It's going to be very general. So please take what resonates and let the rest go. Let's welcome in the high frequency archangels, ascended masters, light beings, spirit guides, and of course our higher self to assist with this reading today. Okay, collective, let's see what energy is, something we need to be aware of, something that could be quite relevant or prevalent for us at the moment, something we're working on. Maybe there's a particular element that we're working with at the moment, whether that be fire, earth, air, or water. We'll see what's going to jump out here. Actually, I'm starting to sweat. I've got my heater on, so back in one moment. Okay, let's see what's going to jump out here. Okay, looks like we're working at the moment with the water element. So we have the 8 of Cups. The number 8 could be important as well. Maybe something's sort of in about 8 days' time or 8 weeks' time. Maybe something's going to kind of fall into place, or maybe you're going to be making a change of sorts. So this is often, about emotional, the emotional aspect of life. Could be to do with relationships as well. Also maybe your creativity, your spirituality, and your intuition. And there could be something about your emotional life, your social emotional life. We can sort of lump those things together, or creative life, that you are deciding is not really fitting the bill. It's not really fulfilling enough for you anymore, and you're wanting to move towards something that is going to be more fulfilling. Which is, I always feel is, okay, it sort of seems like a contradiction in terms, because if the 10 of Cups is, emotional fulfillment, the 8 of Cups you would think is not too bad. That's pretty up there. It's pretty close to a 10. But, maybe this is also talking about how this bottom row here is a little bit like a wall. So maybe, or the foundation. So maybe you've laid... You've gained some social emotional skills. You have come to an understanding of your creativity and your intuition and your spirituality. So you've laid a foundation here. And maybe it's that you are building this extra layer of the extra, layer of the wall here. And maybe what's happening is that, you've managed from this foundation in that situation to, create these 3 cups here. But maybe you're finding that in order to, there's 2 more cups that you're needing to put on here, maybe 3, to make the 10. And maybe you're feeling that, you're going to have to do something a little different. You're going to have to make some little changes or tweaks to how you're doing things here. And, this is probably, many of us are looking at this, especially with regard to spirituality and creativity, I'm feeling. It can be, relationships can, I guess, go through some shake-ups as well. But I think it's more to do that we're talking about personal, our own inner. It can be to do with our own creativity and our spirituality. Let's see. Wow. The earth element. So there's something new that Spirit has that's for us that is going to offer an opportunity. It's going to, I guess, present to us a pathway, a doorway that we're going to be able to step through. But the interesting thing is that the doorway's in the distance, and it's sort of looking like that in order to maybe go through that doorway, we need to first of all accept this opportunity or this reality. But it's because it's the earth element, it could be sort of to do with health and well-being. Like maybe there's some changes that we need to make to our, daily routines to improve our health and well-being. It could be what we're doing on a practical basis, how we're spending our time, where we're putting ourselves in front in terms of what experiences are we giving ourselves, like tangible experiences. And maybe in order to get through this portal, we need to start bringing in some more, this is like the hand of Spirit, bringing in some more spiritual experiences, really taking our own health and well-being and our own stability and security, I guess looking at it from a spiritual perspective. So coming to understand that everything is part of the spiritual, and that maybe we need to, I guess, there might be some practical things that we need to do in order to move forward into this portal. And this is sort of, it's interesting that this card is talking about movement as well. So not only are we looking for cups here on this journey, but we're also probably needing to look at something practical or something grounded that we need to take up before we can move through this portal. And there's a mountain in the distance there too, and there's like a journey that we're going to be going on here. So I think as a collective, you know, that's possibly where we're sort of at. Yeah, 8 of Pentacles. We're looking to build, you know, a really nice life for ourselves. We have the 5 of Pentacles. There's a lot of earth in this reading. So maybe this is a call for the collective to get really grounded. Here we have some wands, fire energy. The Magician. Yep, we're having to access resources and parts of ourselves that we haven't activated before. So maybe there's some new things that we're going to have to be discovering about ourselves, okay, with regard to the elements. And here we have the 9 of Wands, which can be, you know, that can be, you know, that we're wanting to protect and guard what we have. The Emperor, okay, as energies around us. 9 of Swords, I will go through these again in a moment. And the King of Wands. Let's look at the bottom here. 7 of Wands, yeah. We're kind of, I think, really trying to create some boundaries that will enable us to make this movement, to gather our cups, to pick up that pentacle and to move through that portal, okay? And we can do this, you know, we don't have to separate from everything else that we're doing in life in order to pick up those cups and take up that pentacle. But, you know, there might be that we're needing to carve out time and space in order to do those things, okay? And, you know, I often think sometimes too, whether this is talking about that maybe it's time to take a little break from the relationships that we're in. Maybe it's time to take a little holiday, a little mini me break, you know, going away for a few days. Or maybe this is about taking up something creative or an art form, or looking at closer at your spirituality and exploring that a little more possibly. I'm also just going to grab here 3 cards for our, okay. The Star has just flipped, as has the 5 of Cups. I think this is sort of looking like, it's looking like here, collective, that we are going through the teething things of, you know, moving from 3D to 5D, okay? And many of us are having issues, difficulties and troubles, and it's understandable, and I think it's completely normal. We're having some stresses and things about letting go of what we're used to doing and how we're used to doing things. And here we have the Moon as well. It's just jumped out. And this talks about the subconscious. So what things are we hanging on to subconsciously? You know, asking ourselves the question, what are we hanging on to subconsciously that is helping us move forward? And what are we hanging on to subconsciously that is blocking us from moving forward? Okay, just going to look at the bottom of the deck as well. Here we go. The 10 of Cups. Okay, remember we said we're looking for those extra cups. Okay, we're looking for that that extra fulfillment. I'm just going to pause for a minute. I'm just going to drink water and look at these energies. Get back to you in a moment. Okay, collective. We are becoming masters here. Okay, we are becoming masterful with regard to our practical ability. So we are, you know, there's no doubt, according to this reading, that we are going to be able to take up this cup here, this pentacle, sorry, not this cup, this pentacle, okay, so that we can move through that portal. The pentacle from spirit, the opportunity or the practical things that we need to do in order to move through this portal. And this is that this energy here is saying that we have faith and trust in ourselves, that we are going to be able to do that, because here we are working happily away at these pentacles, and it's going to be, easy for us to do that. However, we can occasionally lapse into this perception of lack here, okay? And so there's some topsy-turvy energies here, okay? So this is like we're becoming masterful here, yet then we're falling back into perception of lack. So we're going to be feeling a bit like this. It's going to be, one minute we're going to be feeling like that, maybe for a few days, and then we're going to be feeling like that. And this is the process that, like I said, the teething pains, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is the Eight of Wands. This is a heat, is fire, okay? It's also, when I was looking at this, it was like another message I got through was the sun. So the power of the sun. So this is like transformational power. And if we can get more sunlight, okay, also do some physical activity, be active, try and activate as many areas of your life as you can without going too crazy. But just, keep active, keep engaged, keep following your passions, because this is going to be activating, okay? It's going to, the way this is coming out in the reading, this is your inner magician, okay? This is activating not just the wand power here, but your pentacles, cups, and swords as well. So fire, earth, air, and water, really activating, okay? Now, from here, we have another topsy-turvy energy, okay? So not only do you have the activation coming in, but then you have this tendency to boom, and this could be us at the moment, is to, okay, we've accumulated all these passions and we're good at what we do. This is the Nine of Wands, but yet we're very guarded and we're very protective. We're very almost stuck. We could almost be feeling like that, expecting someone to attack us or expecting a worst case scenario, okay? Because we're so busy on protecting this rather than, moving forward here. Because these are two very different energies. And once again, we can be feeling in our power at times. I think within the next, there's a lot of eights in this reading. So I'm going to say, within the next 8 weeks or 8 months even, we're going to be kind of toing and froing a little bit, and we've really just got to hold space for ourselves and have unconditional positive regard, unconditional love for ourselves, regardless of what energy we're in. So if we're in this, then you can be feeling great and like things are going great, and then, there might be, this might come in at times where you're like, well, I've really just got to pull back. And this can be talking about illness as well. So if you have, like I myself are a bit down at the moment, sick, down with illness, but if you're feeling unwell, it's not to become, and sometimes you just have to sit and look after yourself, okay? You can't move forward because you just got to nurture. It's to not become too despondent, okay? It's to just know, well, this is transitory, it's temporary, and I will be moving back into my magician energy when the time is ripe and when the divine timing is happening and when my mind-body-spirit complex is rejuvenated to a sufficient extent that I can step into that. This is also a call to be really big on health and well-being. Okay, so really look after your immune system, for us, all of us, to look after our immune system, our health and well-being, okay, and to not lose heart. This is another overall energy, Ten of Cups. I have pulled 2 overall energies. So one of them is the Seven of Wands and the Ten of Cups. So this is the struggle. This is the fight. This is the, we're standing here moving into our authentic, higher frequency version of ourselves. Yet we have these wands here challenging us, and that can also be our tendency to relapse, to go into perception of lack, to go into defensiveness, things like that. So this is internal, okay? We're going through this internally. Now, with this idea of being stuck, this can also be an energy around us that is, the Emperor can talk about empowerment, but I think what this reading is saying is that this is about structure. The next card in the reading is the Nine of Wands. So another phrase that came into my mind as I was looking at this reading was, we need to loosen up, okay? This is the structure that we have been used to, And that because things, you know, societally and culturally, and maybe, you know, in some ways, of course, globally, if some of these structures, infrastructures are kind of dissipating a little bit, or they're kind of undergoing a shake-up, you know, and we're getting stressed about it, okay, really it's a part of this whole thing of the our whole collective, Gaian collective, becoming more fluid, okay, because this is not a fluid energy, okay, this is a very fixed, you know, but there's light and dark in every card, okay, take what resonates. So this can be saying that if you feel that there are forces and things around you that making you feel like you have to create a solid structure of a particular type, that you need to be following authority, that you need to be, I guess, subject to an emperor, because this is in the position of something that's external to you. This is, you know, something that's not of you necessarily, it's coming towards you. That to, I'm going to clarify that right now. Let's do it. Let's be fluid in this reading. We're going to clarify this Emperor. I have the Divine Tarot here, which I haven't used for ages. And when I said fluid, remember we're on this journey to find our extra cups, being the symbol of water in the tarot. So we're looking for more creativity, more spirituality, more emotional sort of fulfillment, more emotional connection, more flow, okay. The Emperor is fire. It is an Aries card. But it's more kind of like dominion or, you know, dominance almost. Okay. So I think this is a warning to try not to fall too much into that idea of thinking that you have to, I'm not saying we're trying to create a rebellion here, but what I'm saying is that if you have choices to either follow something here or to create something there, just try and project yourself into the future and see what you may be feeling as a result of taking that path of following a really set structure and someone else telling you how to what to do, okay, compared with something that may be a little looser. Maybe you've got some autonomy, some creative outlet within that path, okay, just to kind of see how you're going to feel. All right, Spirit, let's just get a clarification of this Emperor energy because, okay. Page of Wands, yeah, this is the inner child, okay. The Emperor is extreme responsibility, and it can also be responsibility to continue things the way they have always been done, and that things need to be, you know, ducks need to be in a row, A, B, C in particular order. Now, like I say, take what resonates. If you're one of those people that really needs the structure and the order to get things done, absolutely fine. Of course, we need a certain amount of structure. Okay, but if you find that you are engaged in this at the expense of your emotional well-being, of your creativity and your intuition being expressed throughout your life, then this could be something that you're wanting to loosen up on. Okay, to clarify that Emperor, we have the Page of Wands, which is the Page of Fire. And this is an inner child passion energy, so it's more movement. The Emperor is quite static, a number 4. The Page of Fire is movement, so moving, okay? But, you know, that's going to loosen up that energy. Whilst keeping it passionate with the fire, we're going to be activating your inner child more, is kind of what this is saying, right? And the Five of Swords. Okay, so yeah, there's going to be, and I think, you know, this can be fear of, you know, of not following the way things have always been done, of having to make different sorts of decisions. But let's grab another card. The Hermit. Yeah, but it's almost like, you know, we're needing to go within here so that to really access this inner child energy. This is a very adult energy. There's kind of nothing inner child about this. There's almost no emotion in this card. There's almost no intuition. I guess there's creativity a bit if you're sort of creating or managing others, but yeah, just to, in the sense of this reading, it's about just being wary of how you're being involved with structure, to what extent is it taking over your life, and maybe you are, this is to do with authority, sorry, it's just dropping into me now. This is external authority. Are you the authority in your own life, or are other energies, other entities, other organizations, other people being the authority in your life? Okay. And this is the question, okay? And this is a great source of stress because, of course, you know, we have bills to pay. So many of us have jobs, and we do need to be able to, you know, take orders and be part of a structure in that, you know, in the way that we do that. But there's also a part of us that we need to be activating our passions, our creativity, our intuition, and it's really to do with our mastery here of being grounded and of giving ourselves time, of, you know, carving out time and space to do the other things that allow us to be in flow, that allow us to activate the fire in us, that allow us to be less in these energies here, less in those, and this, less in those, okay, and more in these energies here, okay, and the Ten of Cups. Okay, because these are very constructive, positive, creative energies, right? But take what resonates. And here we have the King of Wands. Interesting thing about the King of Wands is I always think of this energy as like a working manager. They're passionate, they're involved, they are, you know, they're delegating, they're helping, they are passionate, and they are open to suggestion, okay, with regard to if something is going to be good for business or for the workplace that's going to help improve it or transform it, to improve it, make it more efficient, make it more more positive, okay, then the King of Wands is the dude, okay? He's going to be in for that. Whereas the Emperor might be saying, well, no, we're not going to do that because it's going to be done the way it's always been done, thank you very much. Because it's created the structure and it's a fail safe, and we know that, you know, security is paramount, and we're not going to risk doing anything different because we know we're safe where we are with the structure that we've created. The King of Wands is more about more on about transformation and progress and ambition and forward-moving things, okay? Which is what, as a collective, we are kind of doing here. So it might even be that in terms of a manager, this manager here, or a boss, is going to be more open to you requesting perhaps work-life balance, perhaps not doing so much overtime, perhaps maybe cutting back to 4 days a week instead of 5. If you can convince this person that your quality of work and your well-being is of paramount importance, so that you can even improve the quality of work that you're doing for this business or this boss, as a result of having that bit of extra time off, then this boss is more likely to go, yeah, that sounds awesome. Whereas this one might be going, well, no go. Let's clarify some things here. To clarify that Nine of Swords. You know, I mean, many of us could be at the moment, you know, if you're unwell, we're having winter months here in Australia, and, you know, classic time, people get colds and things and flus, etc. You know, you could be up at night and not getting sufficient sleep, okay? But it will pass. Let's clarify that. Thanks, Spirit. The Nine of Swords. How are we going for? This is a longish reading. Okay. But yeah, this is about us going on a journey that, didn't want to flip, did it? Going on a journey of our soul's evolution, and, well, these cards are super slippery. Nine of Cups. Isn't that interesting? To the same number, 9. Nine of Cups, Nine of Swords. Very different energies. This is emotional fulfillment. And the interesting thing is that, you know, we started at the centre here with the Eight of Cups, and now we've got 9. And the end of the reading is 10. So this is really positive here for us as a collective, is that we are going to be able to reach that that emotional fulfillment, that, you know, full activation of ourselves. Probably because of this. This stuff shows us where we need to improve. Okay, whatever's stressing you out in life can be showing you, okay, that area of my life needs to change. Okay, because if we don't have this, then we would go on doing the same old things and we wouldn't evolve, we wouldn't grow. Okay. But like I said, there's ups and downs with this reading. And here we have the 9 of Cups. So this is really about moving towards your emotional fulfillment. And even perhaps if you're in this state here, doing some journaling, just writing out stuff that's not working for you. Okay? What is not working? Who are other people, or what are the job roles that are not helping you at this time? And is there some way that you could maybe talk to someone, get some help, and so that you can really, this is all of this is our birthright here, the 9 of Cups, emotional fulfillment. Not only that, the 10 of Cups. Okay, we all have a right to, and there are lots of free, I mean, if you feel like you need counselling, there can be free counselling online, I think. I'm just going to pick up the whole deck just dropped on the floor a moment ago. Right, I'm just going to talk briefly about these 3 cards that we pulled up at the end here. So this is that we are on track. Even though it might feel that things are up and down, we're still on track here, folks. Okay? And this is about the fact that we're sorting truth from illusion here. We're working out what really matters. We're working out what's not working and what's going to work for us and with us as we ascend and go on this beautiful journey, take up this pentacle opportunity or practical way of being and move through this portal here. And the 5 of Cups is interesting because the 5 is also a number of change, but it's really just emphasizing and reiterating what we've just been talking about, which is that things are going to be like this at times with the empty cups, and we're going to be focused on that for whatever period of time. But we need to, if we can, minimize the focus on that type of thing, turn around and look at the cups upright here that we do have. Okay, and to keep in mind that all of this is part of the journey, and that there is a bridge here that we're going to cross, and we're going to go over into this high frequency being here, not being high frequency way of being, which is kind of what the center card is saying here. Remember, it's about taking up that opportunity from spirit, whatever you feel that is, and then going on this journey, moving towards this portal and stepping through there. And I think many of us will know when we've shifted into that. And what's happening at the moment, see with number 5, it's about the fifth dimension. We are going to be at times in 5D, many of us, and at other times still in 3D, because we have these 3D responsibilities that are, you know, can be problematic or a bit stress-provoking at times. But that overall, what we're doing is we're moving into our empowerment here, and we are becoming more passionate. We're becoming stronger within ourselves to be able to put up those boundaries, to defend our right, to experience this 10 of Cups ultimately. Okay, if we're not experiencing that already, you know, we have a right to that. All right. Let's grab a Sacred Forest Oracle. I've been enjoying these lately, and then I really must stop my video before it gets to 33 minutes, because then it cuts into, it cuts off. So let's just grab a card here. Just cut the deck here. Grace, Wise Woman of the Grove. Yes, and this is the thing. It's about moving through challenges with grace. Even if you feel like BS, sometimes you can still go, well, you know what? I still love myself unconditionally, and I'm going to do A, B, and C now in order to make myself feel loved. It might be something really small, like give yourself a nice shower, have some aromatherapy oil, put on a funny movie or something, you know, anything you can do. But we're transitioning into 5D with grace here, but it's not an easy ride, okay? And here we have protection, guardians of the land, right? We are protected as we go through this shift. And remember, we have our own inner magician here. Okay, this is what we're activating. Okay. I really love these cards. Happiness. Yes, Bluebird Spirit. And we're going to end on that because this is what we're aiming for. You know, we're embarking on this journey with our moving to get those extra cups to make up our 10. Okay, we're almost there. We've got 8, folks. Okay, we're almost there. Let's just keep moving on towards our happiness so that we can reap the benefits of that and enjoy it. Okay. So, yeah, look forward to our next reading. In the meantime, have a great day, a great week, and I'll see you again soon.